Welcome back here to Mighty Mac on YouTube. The Winternationals somewhat took place today. In an eventful weekend, the race was even more crazier and even more unpredictable and led us to even more questions than answers as we continue our way through the early portion of the 2024 season. We have a lot to cap over, hopefully have some video highlights if lucky, and then we try to look forward as we get set for now what will be the finals ran at Phoenix in 2 weeks. Let's get into all that here in our Pomona Winternationals race day recap. So like I said last night, anybody who is going to win this weekend for the Drag Racing Bracket Bonanza prizes was not going to win this based off any educated guess. It was more likely going to be based off of just pure guesses at all, because a lot of unpredictability took place within these races. In a race that saw the weekend take place with massive different amounts of weather, with unpredictability and changes to the track that nobody could have saw. It was just as crazy as anybody could have asked for, in one of the craziest qualifying sessions that a lot of people in the media have seen in a long time, as well as something that is just a crazy race day overall that was topsy-turvy. It was everything you could have asked for in this insane start to the 2024 season. And the big storyline is obviously, like I said, the weather. We saw rain take place on Saturday, which washed us out most of the day, only gave us one session of the day, two in the complete for the weekend. And going into race day, it looked pretty good. They actually moved the start time up to 10 a.m. because of the curfew started at 9. Teams couldn't start their engines until 9 a.m., so 10 a.m. was the earliest they could run. They had tried to cram it as much as they could. They got it all the way up to the semifinals and even moved finals up earlier to the point where it was only an hour between the semifinals and finals, realistically giving the crew guys maybe 30 minutes at least to tear down and rebuild the engine. So they're already on crunch time as it was. Sadly, weather took over. It started to rain. It looked like a pop-up shower, so we were just going to sit down and wait. Then it hailed, and it really hailed, to the point where it looked like a layer of snow had taken place over the SoCal area, and pretty much a river had formed on the center line of the racetrack from the tree all the way past the shutdown area. So from that point on, word had started to go around that they had canceled the remainder of the event. And then it was officially announced that yes, that was the case. They have canceled the final rounds. We got everything but the last 3 pairs of pro. And then sadly, we're going to have to rerun that at Arizona for the Arizona Nationals of Firebird Raceway. As you can still see, I'm still a little bit sick from the cold. I did see all the comments. I appreciate everybody's well wishes for wanting me to get better. I do feel a little bit better. Like I said, Vic's cough syrup has been a real big help this weekend. So let's get into it and look at the brackets for today. In pro stock, it's pretty predictable for the most part, except for round 1 from what I could gather. Dallas Glenn, number 1 qualifier. Eric Anders, number 2 qualifier. Ran it all the way to the finals. Dallas Glenn, the big surprise. David Quadra making it past the second round. I had chose Aaron Stanfield. I thought he had won. Turns out David Quadra won on the whole shot. David Quadra with a big round win against Aaron Stanfield, moving to the second round. Mason McGahey, another big storyline. Think about this. Like I said last night, Christian Quadra went from going to the finals to not qualifying this weekend. Mason McGahey went from not qualifying to running all the way to the semifinals against Dallas Glenn. Problem was, he fell asleep on the tree, and when you're running against someone who's nicknamed Double O Glenn, you cannot fall on that tree because he will cut you, and I believe he got an 012 light and then whooped him down the track and took that round win. Looking over into the other half of the category, like I said, Eric Enders goes through Fernando Quadra Jr., goes through Brandon Foster, who had a good round 1 matchup against Chris McGahey to get into the second round, and then took out her big rival in Greg Anderson, who went through Cameron Caruso and Troy Coughlin Jr., who handed Greg the win on a red light. So the final was set up, Dallas Glenn versus Eric Enders. That will take place at some point on the Arizona Nationals weekend. I'm going to assume Q1 was the only way they could get it done because of the fact of the Mission Foods Too Fast to Tasty Challenge, because they already had the semifinals set up. So everything is ready for that. I don't know how they're going to do that. I'm assuming that the finals will be ran in Q1. That is the only way I can see that happening. Looking over into Funny Car. Matt Hagan, the reigning Winternationals winner, the reigning Funny Car world champion, 4-time world champion in that fact, makes his way number 1 qualifier, goes through Buddy Hull, Jeff Deal, who had a massive bracket buster that took out a lot of people in Funny Car, takes out Daniel Wilkerson in round number 1, takes care of him, move on to J.R. Todd, who took out Paul Lee, who took out Bob Taskett. That was another big bracket buster as well. And then J.R. Todd, who took out Cruz Pedregon. Matt Hagan would move on to defeat J.R. Todd, moving to the finals to face up against none other than the California legend himself, John Force. John Force, round 1, through Jim Campbell. goes to round 2 through Bobby Bodie, then defeats Ron Capps, who took out Terry Haddock in round 2. And again, massive shout out to the Haddock crew. They have done such an incredible job this season with the turnaround already. I had actually picked him to take out Chad Green, which is a bracket buster that I saw coming, because again, if you remember what I said last night, something about the Winternationals just works really well for the Haddock crew. They were at a 399 on Saturday, go through round 1 and defeat Chad Green in the first round and move to the second round against Ron Capps. And just like last year in the semifinals, Ron Capps takes care of Terry Haddock to move on and then falls to John Force in the semis. So we came really close to seeing the legend, the icon, John Force, possibly getting a win in Pomona, his first wins, I believe, the 22 Charlotte 4x Nationals, if it would have happened, and what a better place to have happened than in his home track at the Winter Nationals. Sadly, like we said, he's going to have to wait, but man, what a titan matchup. The face of the sport right now versus the all-time great John Force. That is going to be a race to watch. And then, boy oh boy, Top Fuel, the storyline that's going to be set in there. What more could you ask for? The Sarge, Tony Schumacher. There's a lot of stories in the offseason about what was going on with that team because of the fact that Skag left him, dropped him, wanting younger blood in the car. Tony refused to get out of the car. Joe Mater refused to throw him out of the car. So Skag picked up their money, went to Davis Motorsports to go sponsor Justin Ashley. And man, second race in the season, and these two already going to meet up in the finals. Could you ask for anything better? Tony Schumacher, round 1, Terry Tone takes care of him. Round 2, Sean Langdon, defending race winner back at Gainesville, defeats him. Billy Torrance. You had to go through the 2 finalists from Gainesville to get into the finals for the Winter Nationals. Takes care of business. Billy Torrance going through Josh Hart, round 1, and going through Doug Coletta, who defeated Jasmine Salinas. Jasmine didn't actually get to have a run. She broke, something on the car broke during the burnout, and she had to shut it off. A disappointing end to the weekend for a very promising start for the young driver. Hopefully, she's able to turn around in Arizona. But a big step in the right direction for Tony Schumacher. This is a resurgence year for that team, and this is something that is really going to help them down the line. We have seen the progress that team has made for Joe Mater Racing, and I'm telling you right now, the Sarge is hungry. He is back. It wasn't really like he ever left, but that team is finding their footing, and they're finding it well, and it is planted right now. Justin Ashley, ground run against Sean Reed, goes through him. Steve Torrance took out Tony Stewart in round 1, takes care of business there, and then having to go up against the number 1 qualifier, the only person who could run, I believe, a 360 all weekend long, in Brittany Force. Brittany Force had a bye run due to the fact only 15 cars showed up. Clay Milliken, another big bracket buster, which a lot of people are pointing out of why is that a bracket buster, because nobody picked him. I'm going to be fair, I'm sorry Clay, I didn't pick you as well. My bracket was based off guys who I believed could get down the racetrack. I didn't even follow my own logic on guesses, because Clay Milliken takes out Antron Brown in a very close race around number 1. Sadly, blew another supercharger off the car, destroys the blower, car is broken, they didn't have enough time to replace it. Jimmo and the gang did not want to take a car up there that was going to spread oil down the racetrack, so they just pulled it off and said you could have a bye run. So Brittany Force, 2 bye runs in the semifinals, loses to Justin Ashley. So then that sets up a marquee final matchup. Tony Schumacher and the Leatherwood Distillers Top Fuel Dragster facing off against the now 4-time back-to-back final appearance in the Winter Nationals, or in fact, I believe just in Pomona in general, Justin Ashley, who is now looking to go back-to-back as well. I believe actually 3-peat at the Winter Nationals, looking to restart his season just like he did last year. This is going to be a big deal for this, to see how these two are going to match up, because again, if you follow along in the offseason, the storyline between Skag and Tony Schumacher, it is heated. It is there. It is going to be fun to watch. So this is going to be a race that's going to have a lot of eyes on it due to that storyline, especially if Tony Schumacher can get the job done and prove that, hey, I might not be the youngest kid in the class, but I can still cut down trees and take out these kids like it's none of my business. He is still the Sarge. He is still the 8-time world champion, and he is still hungry to get back in the winner's circle.
So Erica, for the first time today, is on the In-N-Out Burger side. Let's see if Greg Anderson can keep his momentum going. These two, you know, they're going to go at it all year long. Every time they do, there's a little something extra on the table. Let's find out who gets the score in Pomona. Both ready. Greg Anderson, 009. Erica, 22. Finish line. Erica by 4 thousandths of a second. 6.523, 211.03 the speed. Erica, her best run of the weekend at a time when she needed it. Greg Anderson had a 009 reaction time and a 6:54, and it wasn't enough. Erica, yet another final round, wins it by 4 thousandths of a second. So Erica awaits. If Dallas can turn on the AAA board, it'll be 1 and 2 in the final. If Mason can turn on the in and out board, Lucky 13 will have one more shot. 7 thou the difference in reaction time, and Mason McGahey shoves the clutch in. 6:56, 209, Dallas Glenn. Dallas will go to the final. He'll take on Erica. Mason had to shove the clutch in, 7:34 at 143. So our defending race winner in Top Fuel, Funny Car, and Pro Stock have all made the final round. Think they can all win again? We'll find out in about an hour. Galvin. Will Matt Hagan be the one to stop the DHL Express? Or will J.R. Todd go to his second final round to start the season? It's going to be Hagan, 3.939, 325 miles an hour. Give John Force the lane choice. 6:14. 121 for J.R. Todd. They left within 6 thousandths of a second, both of them on time on the starting line. But Matt Hagan's going to take Tony Stewart, Dickie Venables, Jason Johnson, and the rest of those guys to the final round. Joe. "124th time they've gone head-to-head. And this one's going to go John's way. 392, 327 miles an hour. The parachutes didn't fully blossom. Check out that Peak Chevrolet up top. Is he going to be able to get that thing wound down? The parachutes never did fully blossom down there. John Force is going to get it stopped. He's going to have some glowing red carbon fibers inside the wheels, but he just does get it stopped. Joe Barlam, of course, the entire Capco Brain Trust down there, and Tony. Mike Neff and John Schaefer. I love what he said about last year. He said last year we had to kind of bite the bullet. This year, we're ready to go racing. .374 beats 378. Tony Schumacher's headed to the final. Schumacher moved first. Saw some weird flames and smoke look like coming out of the left bank on Billy Torrance's car. It slows to a 378 at 317 miles an hour. But Tony Schumacher is headed to the final round. Joe. Mike Green makes the final adjustment on the Skag Power Equipment car. Randy Glady with a whole lot of his VIPs in the house. They're hoping to take Justin to the final round like they did last year. Brittany hoping to go to the final at her home track. Both of them get in trouble. Both of them are pedaling and using up stuff and spitting things out the pipes. And who guessed 419 was going to win that one? Not me. 4.190, 296, and Justin Ashley would go to the final. Brittany goes 462 at 216 miles an hour, and I didn't expect either one of those cars to do that, Joe.
Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll try to get you guys any highlights I can. I've been posting updates over on Twitter of what's been going on throughout the day. Be sure to follow me on their social media pages, Instagram, like I said, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, MyNameMac03. Subscribe to the channel. Be sure to like the video. Be sure to comment and share it to everybody because, again, man, oh man, I've seen it from the views as well. I know people are interested in drag racing, and there are more out there that are going to be interested in drag racing. And with where the season's going, with how this is going to take place, with all the stories and all the feuds that are going to be going on and the storylines to follow, this is going to be one you're not going to want to miss because they just keep finding new ways to make drag racing better and better and better. So again, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to do all the fun stuff, liking and sharing the video to spread the word of drag racing. And until Arizona, this has been Mighty Mac, and I will see you next time.